Oh, how interesting. Okay, there you go. There you have it. What? I'm going to bring up a taboo topic that I will be labeled crazy for again, but aerosol out the back of tailpipes on cars going down the road? What?
Thank you, Arjan.
What is happening? I should really stop reading just every chatter that says stuff. I really, really, really need to stop reading chat. It just, every time I read it, it breaks my fucking brain. Anyway, so that's Henry Cuellar, which got this big ups by AIPAC for his support for Israel in the wake of this Amnesty International report coming out of the UK branch that says Israel is an apartheid state, which is true. Israel is an apartheid state. Here's what Rivka Brown said for Novara Media. Besides weaponizing anti-Semitism, what's scary is how well the Israeli state has learned the language of progressives, privileging identity politics, lived experience, and pseudo-intellectualism, complexity, and nuance over universal principles and moral absolutes. Israel and the UK came out with this take saying, Amnesty International's report is a shameful... Hold on. British accent. This fucking Tuesday in it. Amnesty International's report is a shameful misrepresentation of Israel's diverse and dynamic society. As a proud democracy, we look for nuance, but found only falsehood and distortion. This anti-Semitic report recycles lies instead of seeking truth and consolidates bad faith attacks from those who seek to demonize the state of Israel. While citizens can speak from lived experience. Why don't we center ourselves in this conversation? Why don't we center my lived experience? It's so fucked up sweaty.
8 months, let's go.
What is this? The 2-minute video summing up the issue? Okay, we'll do that in a second. Let me finish this real quick. All citizens can speak from lived experience about the challenges we face as we try to create a better society. The goal of every democracy.
When you hear the...
Oh, this just came out. Fire. Okay, we'll look at it in a second. We need to amplify these voices. We should center people who passionately and openly reflect the complexity and nuance of Israeli society, as opposed to focusing on the erroneous and damaging reports that attempt to delegitimize Israel. It's a sad truth that if Israel were not a Jewish state, Amnesty would not employ such vicious smears against us. Like, are they trying to say that Amnesty International is anti-Semitic or something? Israel-Palestine is not a complex conflict. It is straightforward apartheid. Lived experience is not a condition of participating in a struggle. Of course, lived experience only matters when supporters of Israel decide it does. What about the lived experience of the Salhia family who just had their home demolished, or that the home of the diaspora Palestinians whom the era terrorizes into silence? Israel is a state, boys, okay? If you're new here, if you haven't heard my takes on it before, Israel is a state. And states oftentimes do really violent shit, okay? Like all the time. That's just what states do. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to unconditionally offer support to the state of Israel. Unless you're a Democratic Party representative or a Democratic Party senator, in which case you literally have to for some fucking weird reason. Like unless you demonstrate fealty. I don't know why they think they have to. It's like they don't have a gun to your head. But for some fucking weird reason, the American Congress has decided to do that, okay? But if you, an average citizen, whether you live in Israel or whether you live anywhere else on the planet, whether you're Jewish or not Jewish, do not have to straight up bend the knee to the state of Israel and just like defend it unconditionally. It is very, very weird, okay? Is Tel Aviv the only pro-LGBT and pro-genocide city in the world? No, of course not. Our Hollywood is pro-LGBT and pro-genocide for the most part. It is incredibly disproportionate. The violence that the Palestinian people are subjected to is disproportionate. It's one of the worst fucking crimes against humanity. Okay, it's just a horrible ongoing. This was a video from last year that 100% proves your point that Israel by definition is an apartheid state. Yeah, I mean, it is. It is. It just straight up is.